So yesterday we got our first official look at the upcoming Meta Quest 3. The headset was unveiled in a surprise announcement a couple of hours before Meta's gaming showcase, where they showed off a bunch of brand new VR titles coming later this year. The form factor of this new headset is going to be 40% slimmer than the current Quest 2. It's going to have higher resolution displays along with pancake lenses, and these lenses look very similar to the Quest Pro lenses, which in all my testing were really impressive. They state the Quest 3 will be the first headset to feature a brand new next-generation Snapdragon processor, which they claim will provide twice the graphical power of the Quest 2. These little pill shapes on the front of the headset hide dual-color pass-through cameras, and this is for seeing your surroundings in high fidelity and mixed reality content. They also showed off the newly designed controllers without tracking rings. These controllers don't seem to have cameras on them like the Quest Pro controllers, so they must be tracked by the headset itself. These controllers will also feature the strong haptic feedback motors from the Quest Pro controllers, which is great news for gamers. The price will be $499 499 British pounds for the base 128GB model, and it's going to be shipping in fall later this year. I have to say, I really like the new form factor, I like the new controllers, the pancake lenses, and if it's faster than the Quest 2, it's definitely a win in my opinion. The only thing I'm not sold on yet is the mixed reality feature, as they didn't show any mixed reality content during the showcase, so you could be paying extra for a feature that A, you don't really care about, or B, they don't have the content to make it worthwhile. But I guess only time will tell. During the showcase, we had over 20 new games and updates, but sadly, no mention at all of GTA San Andreas, which was originally announced 2 years ago. I can only assume at this point that this project has been completely scrapped, and Meta are hoping that we're just going to quietly forget about it, as not mentioning a game of this magnitude during your big gaming showcase means that something is definitely wrong here. GTA aside though, we do have some awesome new games coming soon, so I'll run through my personal highlights from the showcase in this video, starting with one of their biggest announcements. Asgards Wrath 2 is coming to the Quest. After originally seeing the teasers on Meta's socials before the event, I thought we might be getting a Quest port of the highly regarded original game, so I was kind of surprised that we're getting a full-on sequel instead. In Asgards Wrath 2, you'll embark on an adventure across multiple realms in order to find and take down the god of mischief, Loki, after he betrays you at the end of the original game. This sequel will feature free roam open environments, a visceral combat system with dismemberment, 4 heroes, each with unique weapons and abilities, crafting, puzzles, side quests, a skill progression system, and my personal favourite feature from the original game, being able to befriend animals and turn them into your very own fighting companions. Meta state that this is one of their most ambitious Quest titles to date, raising the bar for what's possible on standalone hardware and providing over 60 hours worth of content. While it definitely doesn't look as detailed as the original game, which released on PC in 2019, I'm still very much looking forward to jumping back into the world of Asgards Wrath when it releases later this year. Before moving on to the next game on my list, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Skydance Interactive, the creators of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Because starting from now and throughout the month of June, they're going to be running heavy discounts on both Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 Retribution on all platforms. This includes Quest 2, PSVR 2, and Steam. Both of these games are absolutely fantastic in VR, featuring brutal melee combat, along with a deep and interesting story with tough moral choices, giving you the opportunity to be a saint or a sinner. To celebrate these discounts, Skydance have teamed up with VR Cover to give away 500 limited edition Blood Red VR Cover kits for the Quest 2. This is a great opportunity to grab yourself a bargain for 2 excellent games and win a rare piece of Saints and Sinners merch. Check out the store links for the discounts and the VR Cover giveaway page in the description down below. Now, back to the games. So this next game took me by surprise, as it's a real blast from the past, and that's Bulletstorm. Originally releasing on Xbox 360 12 years ago, Bulletstorm is a crazy fun first-person shooter with a heavy emphasis on being creative with your kills. You're armed with an array of awesome weaponry, but unique to Bulletstorm is the ability to slide, kick, or whip enemies up into the air. This slows down time and gives you the opportunity to perform skill shots, with more points being rewarded for crazy over-the-top violence. They also have this awesome sniper rifle where you can actually control the bullet's trajectory after your shot with a bullet cam, which is going to be super fun in VR. Unfortunately, none of this was really portrayed well in this trailer, as I assume Meta wanted to keep the showcase PG-13. Bulletstorm VR seems to be a straight-up VR recreation of the original game, which I remember having a fairly average story, but I do have fond memories of the crazy gunplay. I'm definitely looking forward to experiencing this one all over again in glorious virtual reality. Next up is another classic title being revived for VR, and that's The Seventh Guest. Originally releasing way back in 1993, some of you probably weren't even born at this point, it released exclusively on CD-ROM for PC. The Seventh Guest is a horror puzzle adventure game that takes place in a creepy haunted mansion. In this complete VR reboot of the game, you can expect to be solving mind-bending puzzles to uncover the mystery of how you ended up trapped inside the mansion of Henry Stauff, a wealthy businessman with an unsettling past. To pay homage to the classic game, developers Vertigo Games are using cutting-edge of volumetric video capture to recreate the full motion video storytelling scenes of the original. I have to say, I never played The Seventh Guest, but being a big fan of horror and puzzle games in VR, this is one that I'm really looking forward to. And with Vertigo Games at the helm, I'm confident we're going to have something special here. Moving on from one spooky game to another, next up is Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord. This was unveiled during last year's Metagaming Showcase with developers nDreams at the helm. This year we finally have some more details and some gameplay. In a unique story set in the Ghostbusters universe, you'll be setting up your very own Ghostbusters squad based in San Francisco. This is after a rogue professor unwittingly unlocks spirits of the dead. You'll be able to play solo or with a squad of up to 4 players working cooperatively to track, blast, and trap rogue ghosts with iconic ghostbusting tools such as proton packs and PKE meters. The only thing I'm not sold on right now is the art style, as it looks a bit too childish for my liking, but if the gameplay holds up, it should be a lot of fun to play with friends. Definitely one worth keeping an eye on. Now, moving on from ghosts to vampires in Vampire the Masquerade Justice. I have to be honest, I've never played any of the Vampire Masquerade games before, but this is one of the more unique looking VR games in this lineup, and it's the first time this series has come to VR, so it definitely piqued my interest. In this action-adventure RPG set in Venice, you'll be skulking around in the shadows of Renaissance-era buildings as a vampire surviving on the blood of mortals and other vampires. Your mission is to find those responsible for murdering your sire and bring them to justice using any means necessary. The game will feature climbing mechanics, stealth, melee combat, a hand-mounted crossbow, upgradable vampire special abilities, and an intriguing story to boot. I'm really digging the art style of this one, and I'm sure it's going to look great on the next-gen Quest 3 headset. This will be releasing later this year. Here's another unique game that really stood out for me from the showcase, called Underdogs. This is from developers One Hamza, the same team behind the awesome Racket NX. Underdogs is a roguelike, physics-based mech brawler set in the fictional world of New Bracca, the mech fighting capital of the world. You'll be tasked with smashing your way through enemy bots and machines in your gorilla mech in front of a bloodthirsty crowd to appease the kingpin Big Sis, who has it in for both you and your brother. In order to fight your way to the top, you'll have to upgrade your mech on the way with over 100 unlockable items, including power tools such as chainsaws and wrecking balls. It's got this gritty underground vibe to it, and what's not to love about big hulking mechs fighting each other? This is the only game on the list that isn't due out this year, but instead due early 2024. Next up, this game just looks like great fun, and it's called No More Rainbows. Instead of the usual video game trope of being the good guy, in this game, you play as the monster. As the warden of the underworld, you must protect your realm by destroying these adorable, cute, and cheerful invaders. You must rip, tear, stomp, and throw these little bundles of joy around to collect their souls, which just sounds so much fun. It looks like it has a movement style similar to Gorilla Tag in that you use your arm movements to run, jump, and climb through the environment. With 4 unique worlds featuring 28 levels of mayhem, epic boss fights, a 3v3 multiplayer mode, and online leaderboards, it looks like this game features plenty of content to enjoy. The beta was available on App Lab for some time, but the full game just released yesterday on the main Meta store, so this is one that you can check out right away. Moving on from monsters to espionage with I Expect You to Die 3, Cog in the Machine. This is the latest installment in the excellent series of spy-themed puzzle escape rooms from Shell Games. In this new title, once again you'll be traveling the world and using your cunning to stop the evil Dr. Zor's plans, but this time, he's not the only threat that you'll need to contend with, as a new villain is also on the loose. You can expect loads of fun, mind-boggling puzzles with fatal consequences if you happen to make the wrong move. I absolutely love these games, so I'm super happy we're getting another one. Thankfully, we won't have to wait too long, as this is due for release later this summer. Next up is one of those games that ever since it released back in 2021, I felt like it would be the perfect fit for VR, and that's Power Wash Simulator. Now you can fully take control of the Power Washer with one-to-one controls in VR, instead of having to use thumbsticks or a mouse. It sounds ridiculous, and to be honest it kinda is, but having played the flat version, it's surprisingly fun and satisfying to clean dirty pavements, signs, and cars with your pressure washer. Just like the flat version, you'll be able to team up with a friend in online co-op mode to tackle the dirt and grime together. I mean, there's not much more to say about this one. It's Power Wash Simulator, and it's coming to Quest later this year. And last, but by no means least, is Arizona Sunshine 2, a sequel to one of the most popular VR zombie games of all time. You'll be back facing off against hordes of Freds in this story-driven adventure of post-apocalyptic survival. Just like the original, you can expect to be exploring and scavenging items and ammo to assist you on your journey. You'll be able to explore the wastelands solo or cooperatively online with a friend. But this time, if you happen to be playing solo, you're not going to be alone, as you've got a brand new dog companion in tow called Buddy, who will work alongside you. I'm a big fan of the original Arizona Sunshine game, along with After the Fall from Vertigo Games, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one coming later this year on Quest, PSVR 2, and Steam. So that's a quick roundup of the VR games announced during the MetaQuest Gaming Showcase. Overall, I was pretty happy with the lineup, with both Bulletstorm and Seventh Guest being my personal favourites. Of course, I was disappointed along with the community that we didn't get any information on GTA San Andreas, but like I said at the beginning, I'm convinced at this point that the project has been completely scrapped. But let me know what you all think, and let me know what your highlights were from the showcase in the comments down below. Leave a cheeky little like if you enjoyed this roundup, make sure you're subscribed for all my future VR content, and as always, I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers.